at this time, we're going to go over our power rankings for girls 4A through 7A, boys 4A through 7A, and also 1A through 3A. Coach Prestage, kick us off on our power rankings.
Yeah, and we had some shakeup in the girls 4A through 7A. Last week we had Deshler on top. Obviously, Muscle Shoals getting that big win we talked about earlier over them. So Muscle Shoals moved into the number 1 spot. We've got Deshler in the 2 spot, and incoming we have Wilson in the 3 spot. Again, Wilson's off to a hot start out there in Zip City. I said last week they're my sleeper team, so they've got things rolling out there, so they're coming in at number 3.
Yeah, and on that too, we got Florence kind of knocking on the door for that last spot, or not the last spot, but
we had them number 2 last week, but they lost to Muscle Shoals.
Yeah,
and then Muscle Shoals followed up with a win against the team we had number 1, which is Deshler. So we all felt Muscle Shoals was our clear number 1, and that dropped Florence out with Wilson as a newcomer.
So let's get to these boys, 4 through 7. This we've been talking about this between us, but for us getting to the boys 4 through 7, we had some interesting dialogue going back and forth, and on that, we had a different team come knocking through the door, and that was we're going to start with. I don't know. What do you think? Should we start with the number 3 team, or should we start with the number 1 team?
Everybody knows we're going Florence 1 and Muscle Shoals 2.
Correct. Correct.
But with the number 3 team, it was, we went with the record and the way they're playing right now. And
they're hot.
They are hot. And it's like we talked about.
That's the Wilson Warriors.
It's the Wilson Warriors.
9-2.
Yep.
Most
Come to
wins,
the Zip.
Most wins of any team so far. So
yeah. And that we've talked about that 4 area. It's going to work itself out. All those teams are going to have to play multiple times. So, we'd just like to see Wilson in there because they're deserving and playing pretty good ball right now.
But look, going back to that 4A area we're talking about, you got Wilson there. You got Brooks, who went 3-0 this past week. We've got Central,
who was 4-0,
undefeated until last night.
Yeah,
lost to Alcorn,
state team in Mississippi.
Who has a really solid team. So you kind of got, and then Deshler, goes in the Final Four. That area is we've talked about it a lot. We will continue to talk about it a lot. I think it will always bring a lot of good conversation throughout every show. But we'll also get to see some of those answers this week as we get to see some head-to-head competition.
Yep.
We'll see Central and Deshler, correct?
Yep.
And then we will see Brooks.
We'll see Brooks and Deshler.
And then we'll see Brooks and Deshler. So it's a huge week for Deshler as well.
Yeah.
And then we also have Brooks and Mars Hill.
Yeah.
Which will kind of...
we're going to find out more about, where those
Going to
teams...
see a lot about all these teams.
Yeah, really stack up.
So let's move on down.
Yeah, moving on to the girls, 1A through 3A, there was no change there. Lauderdale County's still at the top spot. Mars Hill's at the 2 spot. I don't know if we should start going 1A, 1B with those two. I'm ready. I'm ready to see that matchup, by the way. Whenever they play, probably be the county tournament, but it's going to be a fun matchup. And then we got Colbert County still sitting there at number 3.
Fresh off winning the Colbert County tournament.
Fresh off winning the Colbert County tournament, and hearing a lot of good things coming out of Leeton with the Lady Indians. Also took a good hard look at Lexington and Sheffield, but we kept it the same this week with those 3 at the top.
Now we're going to be looking at our boys. Number 1 is Mars Hill. We talked about the Huntsville game. It's going to be a really big game, but still it's a huge discrepancy. It's a 7A team against a 2A team, or 3A team. But we'll get to see them play Brooks. That's another local, really good test we'll get to see. We got Colbert County coming in at number 2, again, fresh off of a Colbert County championship. And then the number 3 spot is still Lauderdale County, but you got Rogers, you got Lexington. We have Lexington and Lauderdale County playing Tuesday night. It'll be Coach Hunter Killen's first game against Lauderdale County as the boys basketball coach. there's a lot to be proven. I think, and this is to me the difference between girls and boys. When you have your teams, the Deshler teams, the Lauderdale County teams that are really, really good, there's not a lot of upsets like it takes.
Right. Oh, yeah.
To me, there's so much parity in boys basketball. You see what you would think is Brooks being the favorite the other night with Rogers. Rogers comes in there, plays them extremely close. Did it go to overtime?
It did not.
Did not go to
Didn't
overtime.
go to overtime.
It just-
Wilson went to overtime.
Right.
Yeah.
Wilson went to overtime. Man, there's any team that really shows up, especially in these 1 through 4A, I feel like. If you show up and you're playing good basketball, it's similar to March Madness.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody that's playing really well that night has an opportunity to win. And that's the biggest difference to me in our boys and in our girls. You don't see too many Lauderdale County upsets. You don't see too many when they really have those just really strong teams. You can think of about 2 people that might could upset them.
Yeah.
2 teams.
And I'll say this about that Lexington Lauderdale County game. We've got a lot of good rivalries in our coverage area. But I'm telling you, that Lexington Lauderdale County rivalry, he knows, he's from there. I married into Lauderdale County.
Yeah.
It runs deep.
It
runs deep. It'll be a big crowd there, and you can throw the record books out. It's going to be a scrappy game. It's going to be fun to watch. And, Colbert County 2, Lauderdale County 3, right there we had Rogers. Pretty much we're saying they're like the 4 team. Again, that's going to work itself out. Any of those teams, I think, can beat any other team on any given night. But we talked about Brooks playing Mars Hill playing Brooks this week. That's a Brooks team that Lauderdale County beat.
Correct.
So it'll be interesting to see how Mars Hill does against Brooks, considering Lauderdale County's already beat Brooks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it will have really big implications. For one, they're 2 historic programs as we move closer and closer to the county tournament down the road.
And how fun is that going to be
on
this boys' side?
Yeah, and the girls, too.
The girls is going to be fun, but that boys' side's going to be – it's going to be pretty wide open.
It's a toss-up.
It's going to
really
be pretty
is.
wide open. It's going to be fun to watch.
Yes,
It is.
anybody who's coming to bring it has an opportunity, and whoever's really playing their best ball at that time.
Well, you guys want to get to the fun part? This is where I seem to, get the
Might as
most
well.
Twitter likes right here, doing our pick-ems for the week. So the first game we're going to go with, we can start with girls first. We're going to go with all these games are going to be on Friday nights, December the 13th, I believe. And Lexington is traveling to Zip City, where we just talked about the great atmosphere they've got going out there.
Right.
Lexington traveling to Wilson. In the girls' game, I know we talked to Coach Cummings earlier. Lexington's off to a hot start, only lost 1 game. Got a lot of good momentum. I think Wilson's going to be too much in this game. I'm going with Wilson in this game pretty handily, I'd say.
Man, you put me in a tough spots. You'll be in the same pick with Rogers, too.
I will.
I don't know. I'm a Bear through and through. I'll always go with my Bears.
He's like Nick Saban on game day. He's
I
got.
am.
You
I am.
have to ask him. He's picking the Bears. Yeah.
You'll be the same, too, with Rogers. I'm sure it makes you it makes it difficult.
Well, I'll be the tiebreaker here. I've got Coach Oakley's Wilson team. I think they're just going to be
They're
too
solid.
much.
They are solid.
They're playing with a lot of confidence and also off to a hot start. So
Yeah.
I got the Lady Warriors.
Yeah. And on the boys' side in that matchup, we just got done talking about, any given night, especially in a game like this, inter-county, game, anybody can beat anybody. I think it's going to be a competitive game. Seen both teams play, obviously. They both play really hard. They both have bought into their brand. I think the difference will be it's at Wilson, and he's done a great job getting the atmosphere built out there in Zip City.
Yeah.
I think that'll be the difference in the game. The Wilson student section, I think Wilson's going to bring it. I'm picking Wilson in I think it's going to be a competitive game, but I'm taking Wilson.
Told you I'm going with the Bears. One thing, though, no joke, it's going to be really important for Wilson. They're getting covered by us. They're getting love on social media. They got a YouTube thing going out. They're getting a lot of love. now as we talk to old school coaches, I can remember growing up and playing for Coach Putman, Coach Toner, different ones. And one thing Coach Putman would always talk about was like, you're going to go home. Everybody in town is going to tell you how good you are. Your head's going to get so big. You're going to think you're so good.
Yeah.
You ain't done nothing yet. And I can kind of remember some of those. So I think some of those things still kind of hold true. How are you going to handle – we're changing expectations. You're getting some pats on the back. You're getting some love. How are you going to be able to handle that? And that will be a big test for them to see, as Coach was talking about, wanting to step it up and continue to step it up. How do you handle the rat poison, as he said? So I'm going with the Bears. I'll always go with the Bears. You put the 96 Bulls up there, I'll probably have to go with the Bears just because that's where my heart is. But I do think they have a really solid team. And they got a big week on them ahead as well. Scott, who do you got?
Well, you probably picked SMU over Alabama in the college football playoff, too, didn't you?
No, my goodness, no. Okay. Don't get me started on that. In fact, I actually would like to talk about that later. But
I'll be honest. After talking to the coach, I'm impressed. I've seen him play, and I think the depth of Wilson is the difference in the game. I do think it'll be close, but at Wilson, that crowd, that environment, the bench play will be key.
It will.
Moving on to Deshler and Brooks, I'll kick us off. I'm a Deshler graduate. This game will be at Brooks. My son played at Brooks. This is a tough game for me to pick.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen Deshler play in person. Have gone on the network to watch them, including their game against Muscle Shoals. I watched that this afternoon before the show. They've got some dudes. But Brooks has dudes too. That game will be at Brooks. I think Brooks is trying to figure things out right now.
Yeah.
They've got a good team, and Coach Merckx does a good job, and he'll right the ship. 3-0 this week after going 1-3 to kick off the season. But I think these two teams will probably be the class of the area when it's all said and done. So a big game, but I'm taking the Lions by the slightest of margins.
Yeah, I've got these two splitting throughout the season. I think home court's going to come down to that. I got Brooks getting this one early. That's where I'm going with that. And girls' side, I'm obviously picking the Lady Tigers and Coach Keelan and Deshler. But yeah, I'm going with Brooks, and home court advantage is the big key for me.
Yeah, and I'm going Deshler in the girls' game. I think Coach Copeland's doing a great job trying to build that program. It's going to be a 2 or 3 year process, and obviously Deshler, the Lady Tigers, Coach Keelan, especially them coming off of. Can you imagine playing them coming off a loss to Muscle Shoals? It's going to be a rough week for whoever they play. I'm going to say that. In the guys' game, again, I have these two sort of, just a step above everybody else in that area. I think it'll be these two in the end. I went to Brooks. I love Coach Merckx. I think Deshler's going to have the best player on the floor, and I think he's going to be ready to play in this game. I'm going with Deshler. Yeah,
Mr. Warren and Mr. RJ are probably not going to be very happy with that pick either.
No,
we found her guest.
He likes to stir the pot. He does.
I'm not trying to stir the pot.
Yeah.
The guy proved he can be the best player on the floor in late January and February of last season.
And a homecoming game.
And
coming back to Brooks.
He's coming back. Yeah.
He played there. He's gonna take a lot of heat from the loud crowd. They'll be giving it to him all night. But
so I'm rolling with the Tigers in this.
You gonna be at that game, or y'all got another game that night, or?
I'd like to be there.
I'm probably not showing up. After that pick, I'm not showing up.
We will not see Blake Presage in the building, But I'm taking the Lady Tigers and Janet Killen to get the win. Also,
let's go to Lauderdale County and Clements.
Lauderdale County and Clements. I know this is a game that last year in the girl side,
on the girl side,
for sure was a war.
Yes,
I mean,
a lot of hate, Facebook posts, banner back and forth.
So I don't know if Leah still plays for them or not.
She's gone.
She's gone. But
you thought that Jalen Chandler, Blake Precious stuff was rough, man.
But now I will say this: we can start with the girls' game. Clements, I think one aspect they bring to this game, and I think this is underrated when you play Lauderdale County, is obviously we know year in, year out Lauderdale County is good. I think an underrated aspect of Lauderdale County's girls is the speed that they play at and the speed they have on this team. Now, Clements is athletic. They're fast. They can match that speed, negate that speed. So, and it's an area game. So I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think Clements is going to hang around for a while. It's an area game, but at the end, I'm going with Lauderdale County's girls.
Do you want to go ahead and make your boys pick, or do you want to come back around on that?
Oh, yeah. I'll go ahead. Clements is not in our coverage area. I'm going Lauderdale County's boys big.
Okay. Girls-wise, you got your former assistant coach, Coach Newton over there with Clements. I spoke with him Saturday. He's got a young team, but kind of got a mixture of a young group, but also a few older. One thing they do have is they have beat them before. So, there is some, I don't know if confidence, but being able to know that it's been done before.
Yeah.
I think Lauderdale County is going to be way too much for them. Their pressure is just like we had Coach Cummings earlier on the show. I can remember when I was coaching girls, first year I played them, and I thought, with most teams, you work on playing against pressure, fairly regularly. Man, when we got done playing them the first time, and we played them, we were 27-7 or 6. We lost to them 4 times.
It's different. It's a different type of pressure.
I was like, my best friend was the boys coach, and was like, I need your JV every single day.
Yeah.
Like, I need 10 minutes every single day. I don't care if they have 7 of them on the court. Like, I want to go against that pressure every single day.
Yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and not only for Clements, but anybody. Going with Lauderdale County, not only girls, and then going with Lauderdale County, the boys. Clements has going Lauderdale County with the boys as well.
Yeah. I'm going Lauderdale County girls. Shyla Marks is our player of the week in week 2. They'll obviously be keying on her, but a big difference in the game, I think, will be the inside play of Sarah Smith.
Yeah,
and I think that'll push them over the top. I got them in pretty good double-digit victory. On the boys' side, I was impressed by them. I saw them in person also. I'm a big fan of what Whitney Owens does.
Yeah.
I think his team will be ready to play. I know they'll be very well prepared.
Right.
I know they have a senior that's out, the Adams kid, I believe.
Right.
And so they're adjusting to not having him, but I think they get the win against Clements. I got Lauderdale County in both boys and girls.
That's a good one coming up.
Yeah, Rogers at Colbert County, area game, first area game for both these teams, just like Lauderdale County and Clements. Rogers girls have faced some adversity early in the year. They lost Charlie Gail Ellis, who's been a varsity player since she was in the 8th grade. She would be probably the best scorer on the team. She's definitely got the most experience on the team. So that's been a huge blow for them, losing her and adjusting to that. But I feel like they're getting better. They took their lumps over Thanksgiving, but I feel like they're getting better. They're going to Colbert County. It's going to be tough, but I'm similar to Coach Hill on this. I'm taking the Pirates.
Yeah, girls-wise, I think I'm going with the reservation. I think I'm going with Colbert County. I don't know. It's going to be it's going back to what the professor said. We're going to find out a lot about them. And I think these are kind of 2 teams that it's going to be who's really going to take a stronghold.
Yeah.
You feel like Lauderdale County is going to win that area.
For that number 2 spot.
But these 2 I really feel like are going to be neck and neck. Probably going to see a split in this, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, and I don't know if this is just for the Deshler game, Colbert County had a crowd. And I know when I coached girls, Colbert County was going through their best historic streak they've ever had of girls teams. And when they show up, man, they get a good little environment.
They do.
I'm going with the Lady Indians, and a lot of that being the home court advantage.
I'm also going with the Lady Indians. I think the speed of their team will be the difference in the game. the pressure they can put on the basketball.
Physical, too.
Full court pressure. And again, the physicality. I got the Lady Indians fresh off their Colbert County championship in that game for the girls.
What about the boys' side? Blake?
Boys side, obviously we've talked about Black Taylor a lot. Really good player. Watched a lot of film on him. But and this is not me being a homer. Rogers boys, they've got a good team. You know, we talked about you're there Friday night, saw them against Brooks. I think they're going to be ready for this one. I know it's on the road, it's a tough place to go play. I'm going with Rogers in this one. I think we talked about, they've got 7 seniors on the team. That helps.
Right.
And I think that will be the difference in this one. I think age and experience will help them pull this one out.
Yeah, I guess by looking at the paper, you might well say it's an upset. I'm going the same. I think they got some good confidence last week playing against some really good teams, along with the Mitchell kid out.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of keep knocking at the door. I really feel like this is going to be a week they're going to pull it together and go into leading and pull up a big upset.
This one's probably the toughest one for me to pick. I probably was leaning Colbert County. I do think they'll have the best player on the floor, but if Bo Mitchell's back, I think that they get the win. I was very impressed with Rogers in person. They can all shoot the ball. 22. He's physical inside and out, plays with good attitude.
Yeah.
He impressed me. I'm going Rogers also.
Now we get to the Josh Bryant Bowl.
This is the Josh Bryant Bowl. Yeah, it's Hatton Central. Coach Bryant is from Hatton. Played at Hatton.
Played on a state runner-up team.
Yeah. I can start us off here.
His point guard was the girls' coach, Justin Henley. He's the
Yeah.
girls' coach at Hatton now.
Yeah, that's a
who
good
coached
point,
the boys for years.
Yeah. I'm going in the girls' game.
Now it's an area game.
It is an area game, and it's at Central. I've seen Hatton's girls play. I've seen Central's girls play on film. Hatton's girls, Hatton has really athletic players.
Yeah.
And I think Coach Henley, I know he can coach. He's been doing it for a while. I think there's a lot of improvement there with with the Hatton Lady Hornets. So I'm going to go with Hatton in the girls' game. Then in the guys' game, I don't know if I will ever on this show pick against a Josh Bryant Central team at Central because they're going to be rowing the boat.
They are.
Big area game. So I'm going with Central in the guys' game.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement.
And let me interject before you pick. I want to echo what you said. Several years back, Brooks had a really good team. They were like 29-0. They were playing their last game, and it was at Central right before the playoffs. And Central knocked them off, and I left thinking the exact same thing. When you go to play at Central, you better strap it up and be ready because you're gonna face a very disciplined, hard-nosed, well-coached team. And for that reason, I'm also picking Central in the boys' side. And I'll go ahead and pick the girls, and I'll swing it back to you.
Yeah,
I think Hatton's always been a good volleyball team, and so they're going to have some good athletes that can play. That probably also play basketball. I don't know much about either team, but I'm going with Coach Prest's girls' knowledge, and I'm going to go with the Hornets.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a big game for Josh and his team, especially. I agree. I feel like the Lady Hornets will prevail. For Josh and his team playing his former team, I think it's a big deal. When that job came up, and that would have been the first call if I was Hatton's principal. I'd at least made Josh tell me no on that job. Again, I think he does a really good job. But I don't mean this as a slide in this boys' area toward Hatton. But if you're any team in the area and you're looking at your area standings, with the way all these other teams are looking, that Hatton game is one that you're like, we got to get this.
Oh, yeah.
Because if you don't get that one against Hatton, just like Coach Krieger said, that could be a team that slips up,
And they can. They have the ability to do that. Yeah,
they're dangerous. But if we don't get Hatton, then you're looking at Central, or you're looking at Brooks, or you're looking at Deshler, or you're looking at Wilson, who's surging.
Yeah,
I mean, those are some, So mentally, I feel like I'm not saying it's impossible if Hatton slips up and beats you, but that's one you want to get.
Yeah,
and I do feel like those other I feel like Hatton will kind of mess up the pattern of it, but I think those other 4 really feel like, hey, man, we got a chance. We might could win this.
Yeah.
But, and like I said earlier, I mean, oh, wow, you got number 1, and you're going to get to play Deshler or Brooks
Yeah.
or insert Central or insert Wilson or insert Hatton.
I think I said this on a previous show. It seems like Central's boys, they always have something to say about the outcome of the area.
They do.
You know, even on what's a down year for them, which, you know, on a down year for them, they're still a really tough out. I
Right.
mean, obviously, Coach Bryant does a fantastic job. They're a tough team to play year in, year out. You know, I can remember, you know, I think when JP played at Deshler, when Deshler had that really good team,
Yeah.
I think Central went to the Dome one time and beat them.
Right.
You know,
Right.
I think that was the only team in the area that beat them that year. So
Yeah.
they'll have a say so. But yeah, I like Central in this one.
So those are our picks. We wrap it up here on episode 3 of the Shoals Triple Threat Podcast. I want to thank our presenting sponsor, Jeremy Kiefer and Platinum Tier Events, for providing this space and this opportunity for us to cover high school sports in the Shoals area. Please hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube, and we're now on Facebook
Yes.
at Shoals Triple Threat Podcast. So like and follow us there, and we'll see you in week 4.